So what is Spring MVC? As you'll notice here, I've got a picture of various types of springs, and all of them are used for different things in different situations. And that's kind of what Spring MVC is. It doesn't try to niche itself for one particular type of web application. It can be RESTful based. It can be JSP based. We can use other view technologies like FreeMarker or Velocity. You can use it for headless applications. You can also use it as a remoting framework, and all of these are capabilities that are built into Spring MVC. So what really is it? It's a web framework built around the principles of Spring. So interface-driven design, very Pojo based, can be unit tested very easily actually, and it's all very lightweight, very unobtrusive. It's also based on a dispatcher servlet or front controller pattern. If you've ever looked at the J2E blueprints or some of the other historical documents, it's not really historical, but some of the other kind of object-oriented design literature about design patterns, this is based off of a front controller pattern. It is MVC, hence in the name, which stands for Model View Controller. And we're gonna talk a lot more about that in an architectural module coming up later in the course. It's very lightweight, unobtrusive compared to other frameworks. It doesn't weigh you down with things that you don't need. JSF often gets criticized for being very heavyweight. You have to do things their way. Spring MVC, you can just take the little pieces that you want and just use those. It's also built from the shortcomings of Struts 1. Now, this wasn't their entire intention with Spring MVC, but they saw what they didn't like in Struts and built around that in Spring MVC. There's support for things like themes, localization, RESTful services, which is actually one of my favorite parts of Spring MVC, is how easily you can dump RESTful data out of Spring MVC. And it's annotation-based configuration. You don't even have to use interfaces in their code if you don't want to. There's things that you can get by following their convention over their configuration. So if we just mock some things up with annotations, it works very nicely. And it, of course, has seamless integration with other Spring Beans services, those types of things. The whole dependency injection module works very well with all of Spring, especially Spring MVC.